Our response to Buddhi's post. Ranil, after opting out, plans a new game. In a first, 3 ex-presidents share the same stage. Harsha comments on the next PM. Ranjan sends a letter to AKD, actor-politician Ranjan contests from Ali Raja's microphone party.
The leader, දේශයට මග කියන ප්‍රවෘත්ති පෙළගැස්ම.
Our response to Buddhi's post. We at Truth First do welcome reactions. When some open doors for the unethical, we open doors for the ethical. Leader TV starts today by responding to a post on Facebook by veteran artiste Buddhi Galapati. He refers to our claim that a senior artiste who has returned home from abroad and spoke at the NPP election stage has become confused. He says that the particular artiste has no reason to get confused because Leader TV should understand that there is no personal objective involved. What we carried is as follows. A large number of artistes is supporting the NPP this time. So several veterans who were seen in that party's stage previously complained that they get sidelined now. One is a woman who hoped to enter the Diawana from the national list. The comrade president didn't give her a call at least. Now, she vents her sorrow with posts on Facebook. Another senior who came down especially for the campaigning is also among the worried lot. Anyway, it seems the comrade president is going to set his duties aside and give them a round of calls. Buddhi says he will continue to speak at the NPP stage for its victory at the parliamentary polls as well. We respect what he says and regret any pain of mind caused to him due to our reference. At the same time, we must say that many artistes arrived back from abroad to support the NPP. Supporters are perplexed, with almost every party in the opposition becoming clueless of what to do after the presidential polls. Their supporters have become quite perplexed too. Now, the SLPP's social media backers are planting claims about a brewing clash between the JVP and the NPP. One of their posts asserts that it was mainly the disgruntled SLPP supporters who voted for the NPP. It is surprising that as much as 80% of them switched allegiances, contrary to wider belief that only around 50% would do so. Anyway, the SLPP organiser and businessman have now become stranded. There are many such examples from Kagal and Gampaha. 90% of the nominees are JVP full-timers. Doors were closed for the SLPP youths. Doors were closed for 90% of the SLPP, and only the leftists have been accepted. The JVP's list is one against the public opinion, it goes on to say. Critics say such posts are making their appearance because they have come to understand the serious threat posed by the NPP. Also, it is a likely attempt to lure back the youths who sided with the NPP. Ranil, after opting out, plans a new game. UMP leader Ranil says the group who were with him in Parliament when he was the president should be back if the country is to resolve its economic issue and go forward. He was making a statement to the country on the 17th, his first since losing the presidency. According to him, the new regime has a challenge to start repaying foreign debt by 2028 and raise state revenue to 15% of the GDP by 2027. To achieve those, a growth rate increase of 1% each year is needed for that. The speech given from his Flower Road campaign office contains 5 key takeaways. One is that the country's bankruptcy is over after he entered into a pact with the IMF, 18 creditor nations and personal bondholders. Secondly, the GDP rate that was prevalent in 2019 could be restored by this year's end. Thirdly, he says that going by the presidential election results, no party will gain a House majority. Fourthly, he urges that his party be voted to power. The last one was a warning that a failure to do so would take the country back to a period of queues. Ranil and Mahinda are unlikely to give it up. In 42 years of the executive presidency, Ranil holds the dubious record of losing the elections the most number of times. Less than 24 hours after defeat at last month's election, he said he would not contest again, nor get appointed from the national list, nor give leadership to the election campaign. But yesterday's speech was an indication that he has not given it up. Wajira and other UNP bigshots say their boss expects the government to be in a grave economic crisis before next April, so he will put a dummy in the national list and enter Parliament again for yet another stint, they say. Even Mahinda conceded just days ago that he has not retired from politics. Both are in the same boat, it is said. Ranil personally backs 2 Columbo candidates. Sukotha had a meeting on Poya Day morning for the candidates who contests for Columbo from gas cylinder. Also, Ravi K and Dolawata were there, with Acting General Secretary Theodore coordinating things. While giving their morale a boost, Ranil told the participants that they should induce UNP supporters to give one preferential vote to national organiser Sagala. He also sort of ordered that district leader Prema Jayantha too should get elected anyhow. In a first, 3 ex-presidents share the same stage. Ex-presidents Ranil, CBK and Sirisena shared the same stage and answered the questions directed at them to ever present big laughter. But Mahinda and Gota were absent, although the former had got invited. The occasion was the 45th National Convention of the Chartered Accountants at the Monarch Imperial on the 16th. Moderator Mahendra Jayasekara claimed only the USA and Spain previously have had such programs involving their ex-presidents. The trio explained how they took action during their rules to prevent fraud and corruption. CBK recalls how she expelled a tender seeker. CBK said a minister appointing all his family members to ministry positions amounted to corruption. Eliminating those vices should begin at school, she said, adding the country had adequate laws for their prevention. CBK also claimed she expelled a businessman who had met her through the husband of a then-female minister, with $5 million to obtain a tender when she was the PM. Don't blame politicians only, says Sirisena. Answering a question, Sirisena said he disagreed with the notion that rulers ruined the country during 74 years. It is pointless to blame only politicians for fraud and corruption, he said. What Ranil said about hidden wealth, Ranil said most rulers failed to deliver their promise of eliminating fraud and corruption within a year. Although the incumbent president speaks of anti-corruption laws, the existing ones are not adequate to do the job, he went on. Before bringing back the wealth hidden overseas, they should first be found, said Ranil, adding, however, an understaffed bribery commission cannot be expected to do it. He believed the country had the capacity to eliminate fraud and corruption. A massive fraud by a ruler's son. CBK said the laws were not strong enough to bring back $1,000 million, hidden by the young son of a former ruler in a Dubai bank in 2015. She claimed to have seen copies of the deposit slips for the money. Adding to that, Ranil said despite receiving that particular information, officials failed to account for the actual amount. At least 10 years will be needed to bring back such money, even if found with difficulty, added Ranil. Ending the discussion, Sirisena said a minister cannot rob without the knowledge of his ministry secretary and the chief accountant. Even those two get tempted to rob thereafter, he said. A positive talk about managing lies. Whatever is said by those ex-presidents, the talk about hidden money in Seychelles and Uganda is very much present yet. NPP candidate for Kalutara Nilantha raised it all. Social media activist Chandana Prasanna says on Facebook that he likes the lies management mechanism. An institution will be formed to find the black money hidden in Uganda and elsewhere. Only a lawyer can transform it, he adds. Lying is their job. They don't do it for practice. A campaign to catch Namal. In the meantime, a campaign is on to demand Namal's arrest. Plus One and its convener, Vinsanda Yasasmini, are behind it. He says the main objective of electing AKD is to recover the wealth plundered by the Rajapaksas. He notes how Namal has tweeted a challenge to find their hidden money, saying that it is unpleasant for him to see boastful remarks by plunderers of public money. Seychelles' new AG is a Sri Lankan. Will he be of any help? Sri Lanka-born Vincent Pereira took oaths as Attorney General of Seychelles on the 16th. A graduate of Columbo University, he has practiced here in the Supreme Court and also in Fiji. Prior to the latest appointment, he was a civil prosecutor at the Seychelles AG's office. Ex-presidents say it is not that easy to recover the ill-gotten wealth said to be hidden in that country. Harsha comments on the next PM. Even as certain media claim Sajith Premadasa undercuts Harsha de Silva, that one has openly spoken in support of his leader. He says a government with Sajith as the PM will be formed after the upcoming election. They are prepared to support the NPP president in taking forward the nation's revival without sabotaging it, said Harsha. So, Sajith has been able to make amends with both Hirunika and Harsha, but some say Harsha speaks like a confused one sometimes. Ranjan sends a letter to AKD, actor-politician Ranjan contests from Ali Raja's microphone party. But some wonder if he can go to Parliament even if he gets elected. The reason is a letter said to have been sent by him to AKD. In that, he has requested a reduction in the period his civic rights have been annulled as per Clause 34(2)(b) of the Constitution. He says in the letter that despite the presidential pardon given to him in August 2022, his civic rights remain annulled. He says a reduction of that period to 2 years will enable him to contest the November 14th general election. He expects AKD to consider his request favourably in order for him to return to serving the public. Ranjan has copied the letter to PM Harini, Minister Vijitha and JVP Secretary Tilvin, but nothing has been heard so far from AKD. That's it for today.
The Leader දේශයට මග කියන ප්‍රවෘත්ති පෙළගැස්ම